Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Dow Jones News Fund info session. My name is Heather Taylor. I'm the manager of digital media and programs, and that's my email at the bottom, heather.taylor@dowjones.com. Y'all are more than welcome to email me anytime with questions after this presentation. So let's dive right in. So the Dow Jones News Fund is a nonprofit foundation that promotes careers in journalism. We offer high school programming for college professors, early career training, but the signature program that we're most well known for is our college internship program. And these are paid summer internships. They are for sophomores, juniors, seniors, and graduate students. And these are with all different types of publications, not just Dow Jones publications, but publications from all across the country. I like to say we're sort of like a matchmaking service between the students and the newsrooms. This past summer, we had 87 interns working in more than 62 newsrooms across the country. So you can see we're a very large program, and we span all the corners of the country. And this program has been around since 1960. So we're very well established in the industry. You go into any newsroom, you are bound to meet someone who says, I was a DJNF alum. And so it really has played a pivotal role in launching journalism careers. So I'm just going to dive right in. What makes us different than other programs is that you get a week of training before you go to your internship. I like to call it journalism camp. So you go for 7 to 10 days and you live on a college campus or in New York City. And during those 7 to 10 days, you are learning a lot, getting hands-on practice. You're living with anywhere from, I would say 10 to 20, depending on the size of the program. Other journalists, just like yourself, passionate about going to journalism. We cover your travel, your housing, your meals during that week. And you form lifelong bonds with these people. And then hopefully you go off to your internship at the end and you're ready to work on day one. So let's talk about the different programs. And these programs, I'll say, usually closely align to what you'd be doing on the internship. Not all the time, like each internship is different and what the job description is, but at least there'd be maybe some skills or tools that you're going to pick up in the training that the newsroom is hoping you'd be using during your internship. So audience engagement, this is at Temple University. 10-day program usually starts, it's probably the earliest start, like probably around May 16th or 17th this year. I don't have all the exact dates yet, but they're usually the first one to start. And there you're learning about SEO, copywriting, design, honing your news judgment. How do you know which story can be optimized for Instagram versus TikTok and Facebook? How to read Google Analytics and understand different trends, and learn about how to drive engagement with readers. So for this program, we're typically looking for students who have either demonstrated previous social media experience, like professional experience. That could be with a school club, school newspaper. You sort of get it. I mean, if you are a TikTok star with lots of followers, maybe that would count too. But we want to know that you know how to use social media professionally, and that you understand all the different platforms or have a basic understanding. If you have SEO experience, that also would be really good if you've done any SEO with your school newspaper or in an internship. Multi-platform editing. This is our oldest program. I think our first training was in 1968 for this. We have a very strong reputation for sending out excellent copy editors to newsrooms. These are with a lot of the big traditional daily newspapers, these internships. And here, during the training week, it's at University of Texas, Austin. You are learning about editing, design, headline writing, more headline writing, even more headline writing. Writing headlines is a very key part of the internship and the training. So it's learning about how to write a print headline, a digital headline, an SEO headline, how to copy edit, getting quizzed on AP style, and really learning how to take, an AP wire story. How do you put the head on it, and then put it onto the paper or onto the website. And so for this program, we typically look for people who have previous copy editing experience. So if you are the copy chief of your school newspaper, or just work on the copy desk, maybe you are a tutor or a coach at a writing center on campus. So we look for people who have a really strong command of grammar, the English language, and know AP style. Business reporting. This is our largest program, and it seems to grow every year. We had more than 30 internships in business reporting, and there's a lot of variety within those 30 internships for the type of reporting that you might be doing. I'm trying to. So we have 3 different training weeks, 2 that happen in New York City, and then 1 that we just launched this summer at American University in Washington, D.C. So the first training is, it's that picture in the middle top. That's with American City Business Journals. Those are all interns who are going to be going exclusively to ACBJ publications. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit later. The bottom right corner in front of the bridge, that's our general business reporting program. And those are interns who are going to be working in New York over the summer. So with a lot of so those internships are much more heavy, probably covering markets, finance, Wall Street, those types of internships. And then over on the left, we had our first cohort at American University in DC. And so really taking advantage of not only just business journalism, but the intersection of business and government. A lot of these interns are people who are going out into publications all across the country in different regions, covering either niche publications, business to business, just regional, covering real estate. Who are the major employers in town? What are the major trends you're seeing with, employees in the community? So it's really a great program too. So my biggest takeaway for you is you don't have to know anything about business to be a business reporter. That's what our training week is for. What we're looking for are really strong reporters. Like you have really good clips. So you are comfortable going out, covering an event, picking up the phone, interviewing someone, you know how to write a story, maybe, demonstrate maybe some heftier articles, maybe covering public policy or, an issue on campus. Those might be the type of things we're looking for, or just a previous internship in breaking news. We've had students who do arts and entertainment coverage. So, it's really, you don't have to have business experience. And these are really great internships. Digital media. This was at Arizona State University in Phoenix. There, it's about digital content creation. I'd say there's a lot of overlap between digital media and audience engagement and the type of internships that the students go to, but the digital media training week is really focused on learning those different tools for creating content. So video, photography, podcasting, learning about news product, also SEO, and news judgment. Usually they have a group project they work on during the week and that they finalize. So it's a really fun program. What we typically look for digital media are people who, what I call digitally savvy. I think this goes with the same with the audience engagement program. So, maybe you already work for the school TV station or radio station. Maybe you are the web editor for your school paper. People who just sort of work in the digital space or work with video or audio. You sort of understand some of these tools already. We don't expect you to know all the tools. And so hopefully this training would give you an opportunity to sort of build out your skill set before you go to your internship. And then finally, data journalism. This summer we had 2 programs, one at University of Missouri, led by investigative reporters and editors. And then we launched a second one at University of Maryland, in College Park, Maryland. And they're both programs. You're learning about computer-assisted reporting, data visualization, how to scrape a website, get data. How do you take that data and clean it, make it usable to extrapolate? How do you find a story? And there's, I would say, 3 different types of internships we typically see within the data program. They're not all the same. Some you might be working on one big investigation all summer. So you're just going through mounds and mounds of data, working on this big project, which can be really fun, but you won't walk away with a lot of clips, but it's still a really great eye-opening experience. Others, you're just a reporter using maybe government data or reports, and you're just a reporter using data. And then some of the other internships, I would say are more doing records requests, also going through the data. Maybe it's a little bit of a hybrid of both, maybe some data visualizations. We've had some in the past who have actually worked on news products. And so depending on the newsroom, they might ask us if an intern has certain coding skills like Python and R. Some internships, you don't need to know any of that. We're looking maybe for if you've taken any investigative reporting coursework in school, Have you worked on a reporting investigative project for your student newspaper? Do you have reporting skills? Those might be the type of things we're looking for in our data journalism program. So those are the 5 training tracks that typically align with the internships. So when we talk about the internships, they are only in the summer. They're generally 10 to 12 weeks long. We do have one 6-month fellowship that we usually look for a senior, someone who's graduated who could take that. We also, you are guaranteed a salary of $525 a week or more, and several do pay more, or minimum wage, we say, in the state that you're at. We do have in-person and hybrid opportunities. There's a handful of remote. We sort of discourage remote as much as possible. We think it's a better experience for you guys to be in person at least a couple days a week. But we do have a couple remote opportunities. We will cover your costs to go to the new city. Like for most of you, you might have to pick up and move to a new city for the summer. We'll pay for airfare. We can get your luggage over there, and then we'll get you home at the end of the summer. You are responsible for your own housing and transportation during the internship. Some other benefits at the end of the summer, you're eligible for a $1,500 scholarship if you complete the internship successfully. We have a mentor program from our alumni network. So if you sign up for that, we would pair you with a mentor. We offer memberships to journalism organizations, a digital subscription to the Wall Street Journal. And we also have something called the Intern Assistance Fund. This is not a huge amount of money, but it's something that we fundraise every year from our alumni. And it's specifically to go to students because we know sometimes $525 a week does not go very far in some cities. So if students are struggling, they don't have resources, they don't have help from family, you can apply for, a small amount of assistance that can go towards rent, groceries, transportation costs, what have you. So it's on an as needed basis that we usually figure that out close to the summer. This is a little grid of where all of our interns worked last summer. So you can see we had 10 at American City Business Journals, 5 at Bay City News in the San Francisco area, 4 at the Wall Street Journal, 4 at the New York Times, 4 with Horizon, that's in New York. We have a mix of business-to-business publications, like trade magazines, traditional daily newspapers, public radio, nonprofit news sites, a bunch of very specialized niche publications. So you get a real mix. And then I've mentioned ACBJ. So this is a special program where they're looking for 10 students who live or go to school in their 44 markets. So you can look at the map, see if any of these places look like where you are from or where you go to school. They are specifically looking for students from those areas because, one, they're hoping you wouldn't have to pick up and move and find someplace to rent. They want to save you money that way. You'd be more familiar with the area, so hopefully do a better job of covering it. And, maybe you'd be more eligible to be hired at the end of the summer if you're from there. So the ACBJ program is great. It is in our business reporting program. It's in New York City. And when you go out to your internship, they've been covering DEI in corporate America. So it's really, really cool. They do a lot of coverage of like minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, doing, reports on like employees and how they're impacted by certain things. I remember when COVID was going on, they were doing a lot of reporting on how employees were being impacted by COVID and what was happening. What else? This summer, they all did a project about the cost of childcare for employees and how difficult it was. So, a lot of cool storytelling within the ACBJ program. So one of the biggest mysteries for students is the selection process. Like, how did I get picked to go there? So I try to like demystify the process a little bit, but I can say it's sort of like organized chaos. So the newsroom, right now we have, students are applying right now till November 14th, but also newsrooms sign up. And when the newsroom signs up, they give us the job description. They pick which programs they want their interns to go to. They tell us what the salary is, the dates, here's the start date, here's the end date. They tell us if they are in an area that requires a car, if there's no public transportation. So the intern must have a car or will be need a car to go on assignment to cover things. Do they have any like special requests for foreign languages? Some request specifically a grade, like we only want sophomores, juniors, we only want seniors, we only want grad students. People, they get very detailed in what they request. And then so whichever programs they sign up for, it goes to that program director who's running that program. So if someone signs up for a digital media intern, it goes to the digital media director. And, myself and Shirley Carswell, who's the director, we help. But, they're then diving in and trying to find the best candidates for that position. So it's a very like we're really looking at each position and trying to find the best candidates for that position. They might give us geography. They might say we want someone from in-state. They might say we want they could be from anywhere. Give us someone from anywhere. So we really have some limitations when we do the selection, and we try to just match the newsroom's needs as best we can while also finding the best candidates. The newsrooms themselves might ask to be involved. So some say, we trust you, DJNF. You guys pick the intern and just tell us who it is. In that case, you'd just be interviewed by the program director and they would make the offer. But in some cases, I might call you and say, hi, this is Heather. Have you found an internship yet? Are you still interested in our program? If you say, I'm still interested, great. Or how do you feel about moving to Nashville for the summer? I could be like, oh, I don't know. And I could take notes and we could circle back to that in a little bit. But if you say, that'd be awesome. Okay, great. You're one of 2 or 3 candidates that we're sending to this newsroom. They're going to reach out to you to set up a time for an interview, and then we'll take it from there. Hopefully you get it, but if not, you're on our radar. Like if we thought you were good enough to interview for that position, we might try to find you something else if we can. It just all goes by what the newsrooms are requesting and if we can make that match. I'll also say the newsrooms don't all sign up at the same time. We ask them to sign up by December 1st, but many wait till January or February to sign up. So we're sort of making a selection on a rolling basis. We start in December, but we are continuing. I mean, last year we placed someone 2 weeks before training started on May 1st. So, because we also get dropouts sometimes. We have newsrooms, they call us. I said, we had someone drop out. Can you fill this hole for us? Can you find someone? And we never say no. So we are placing interns all the way from December to April, really. Yeah, hopefully that. So the application is live. It's on our website. It's a Google form. So when you click apply now, it'll take you to this Google form. You only can fill it out once. Once you submit, you're in. So there's 4 attachments you'll need when you start the application: a resume, an essay. Tell us about a time you had to swallow your pride. No more than 500 words. Do not use AI to write your essay, please. It's very obvious, and we will figure it out. So I'm just warning you now. We're like, do we have to put that in the FAQs? And I was like, people need to figure that out if they're applying for a journalism internship, not to use AI for their essay. Unofficial transcript. We don't want you spending money to get a transcript. I know some schools charge to get it. So if you need to take a screenshot to say, we don't want you paying money for it at this point. And then 3 to 5 work samples. The work samples are really important, I would say, for the business reporting most, that we want to see 3 to 5 single byline stories you've published. So not classwork assignments, not essays, not opinion pieces for the school newspaper. We frown. I would say not. I mean, all these things are like maybe 1 out of the 5 if you really are struggling to find clips that you have. And single byline, you could do a co-byline maybe for 1 or 2 of them, but we really need to see something that you've done on your own. Because when you go into these newsrooms to be a reporter, you are filing stories on the first day. We need to know that you have that ability to write a story and turn it out and meet deadlines. So that's sort of it. For data journalism, people have included data visualizations they've done. Also, you could submit stories you've reported on, maybe that are more data heavy. Some people include their GitHub portfolio. For digital media and even for audience and editing, what some people do, which I really like, and I think it helps, is they almost do like not a cover letter, but a cover sheet. And you could say, like, put a little annotation, a little sentence or paragraph explaining, like, okay, there was a big meeting on campus and I tweeted it, I live tweeted a thread. Here's a link to the thread, or here's a social media campaign I did and it got this many likes and views and it really took off. I don't know. But so you could do like a little cover sheet with links to things that you've done for like digital media. I mean, you could even do annotation for stories you wrote too, if you really wanted to talk about like, this was something I worked on for several weeks and it took a lot to get, quotes, whatever you want. And you don't have to do this either. Like, it won't hurt you if you don't do this. If you already applied and you're like, oh no, I didn't do that, don't worry about it. What else can I say about work samples that I've seen? I think that's good enough for right now. So after you apply, you will get a confirmation email. So if you don't get the confirmation email, something went wrong. So email me or let's try to figure it out. But so far, everyone's been able to get through. You also should go and double check, put at the bottom of that email, view entire message, make sure all the attachments are there. I've already had 3 people email me that they forgot to attach something to their email. So you can just email that to me and I will upload it to your folder. Everything's in a Google Drive, so it's very easy for me just to upload it to your package. So yeah, just double check you have all your attachments. So on the application, this is where the first question is, which programs would you like to be just considered for? So you can check off more than one: digital, business, editing, however many you want. The second question is, what's your top choice? And this is most likely where we're going to try to put you, wherever you put for your top choice. Sometimes though, I do call people and say, I know you applied for business, but we have this really great internship in digital I think you'd be perfect for. So we try to stick to what you put as your first choice, but it's not a hard choice, a hard yes or no for that program. We also in the application will ask if you have access to housing, affordable housing. So if you have grandparents that live in a major city, cool aunts and uncles, family, friends, if you know there's a place where you'd have a place to stay for free, that will help. Like, especially like if we have an internship in New York that's paying the bare minimum wage of $5.25 a week, we generally try to find people who already have housing there, because it's just so expensive and we know that. So it does help us to know if you have housing in some of these bigger cities that are very expensive, because we will try to help you and place you there. I mean, it won't disqualify you from consideration. We might still call and offer it to you. But you have to know, like, it's knowing going in, like, this is going to be an expensive place to live and doesn't pay a lot of money. So we try to see what we can do to help people out. We ask for 2 professional references. These should not be other students. These are the people who should be able to speak to your work ethic, your journalism skills, things like that. We ask are, how do they work well in teams? Do they meet deadlines? Are they responsible, professional, things like that? Like things we're not gonna be able to know just from your resume and your writing samples, but like, how do you work in a professional environment? We also ask what industries or topics you're interested in covering. You don't have to put anything. You could leave it blank. Some people say, I'll cover anything. I'm open to anything. But if you are passionate, sometimes we have people who are passionate about climate change. We have Insight Climate News, so we might look for people who put that. We have the Marshall Project, so we might look for people who put criminal justice reform on their application as something they're passionate about. And who knows, within business reporting, there's lots of different niche publications. Some people put like they're really into cryptocurrency or something. So yeah, but if you have a passion, you're interested in a certain area, let us know. And then finally, dates of availability. This is so important because a lot of interns don't even realize they disqualify themselves out the gate just by putting a really late date. If you say you're not free till June 1st, you've just disqualified yourself from half our programs. So just really be thinking, and for any of you that are at Northwestern or a school on the quarter system, that's something you need to talk to about with the faculty. I know Northwestern is very good about letting their students get excused early to attend the trainings. But generally digital and audience start the earliest in mid-May. Editing starts a little bit later. The editing and the American Business University one started like around, I think, like May 21st or 23rd in that window. And then the other ones all started either around Memorial Day week or the week after. So for the business and data programs. So that gives you a little bit of idea of where they fall on the calendar. It is required for you to be able to go to the whole training. Sometimes we'll let you miss one day on the front or the back, like let's say you have graduation, but we will not let you leave in the middle of the week. So keep that in mind. I do encourage our program directors who are making the decisions, like, don't disqualify someone automatically because of the date, because some students are just going to pick a random date and just put it on there and not thinking about it. Give them a call first and see if it's something they can rearrange or move around. But some directors, they're overwhelmed with all the applications and everything. Sometimes they just are like, oh, they're not available. Let's move on to the next person. So I just wanted to really flag about your dates of availability. Same thing with a car. You don't know how many interns get disqualified if they don't have a car, and I feel bad. It's nothing you control. But you know, we do have interns in the Midwest, in regions where there's no public transportation. So you have to have a car. So maybe start thinking about that. Would you have access to a car if you wanted to, if you were open to going to like Denver or somewhere in the middle? Yeah, we have a couple internships in Denver that need cars. So anyway, and some interns make it work without a car. So we'll see. So after you apply, you then get a link from HireVue to take this test. You take it one time. There's 8 sections. It takes about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Each question's timed. So the first part is your video question. Treat this as your one interview. You're on camera. We get to see you. This is where we want to see what makes you excited about journalism, get to see your personality. I strongly recommend don't just like pre-write what you're going to say and then read off a piece of paper. It sort of like sucks the life and vitality out of you. Like we really want to get to know you. So there is time, like you'll see the question first before you have to start the recording. And if you come to our test prep session, you'll see what the actual test what it looks like. But you have unlimited time to prepare once you see the question prompt. So you could jot down a couple notes of how you want to answer it and then just really try to answer it authentically. That's really what we want to see, and we want to get to know you. Then the rest of the test is current events, geography, always a favorite, identifying public figures, and then grammar, AP style, SEO headlines, digital media, business reporting, and data journalism. So for current events, I usually tell people, I think I have this next slide, Google the top stories of the year. You know, we're talking January to August pretty much. Like we finalize the test by the end of August. So nothing happening right now will be on the test. You could think of there's an election going on. There's the Olympics happen this summer. Think of major Supreme Court decisions. We also pull from sports, any big championships in sports, public figures, pop culture. What else? Weather events, major hurricanes or wildfires. What else? Leaders in government for identifying public figures. So yeah, so just look at the top stories of the year. Also on our website, we have all the previous tests. So you can download last year's test, a blank version, and then have the hard copy and then have the answer key and see how you do. I'll be going through it later this week. We're going to be recording a test prep session. So you can watch the recording or join us on Friday if you're available for that. Go through the New York Times quizzes. I definitely pulled inspiration from some of their questions. So that's a good place to study. AP style quizzes. I always tell people for AP style, numbers, you know, think dates, weights, heights, ages, years, you know, think of all the different ways numbers can be written and what the rules are in AP style for those numbers. Think titles, cities, states, what are the rules for all those stuff? For grammar, it's like a lot of commonly mistaken words, verb, subject agreement, tenses, you know, which one is written grammatically correct and identifying them, and so forth. So looking back at our old tests, especially for AP style grammar, would be really helpful. We have tests going all the way back to 2012. So if you even just wanted to like download the test and just look at the AP style questions, the grammar questions, that would really help you. And so that's a little page where you can download the tests. So just a snapshot this past year, we had sophomores, juniors, seniors, graduate students. We take students from all different majors, minors. You don't have to be a journalism student. We do look for people, though, who want to be journalists. So we know not every school has a journalism program. So, and some are, you know, maybe you're a science major or political science, history, like that's all fine. But we do want people who want to go into journalism. If you are an international student already in the US and eligible to get your OPT or CPT visa, then you are eligible. We don't take international students who are studying outside the US. And if you are a US citizen studying abroad, you are also eligible to apply. So this is just a timeline of expectations. The deadline to apply is November 14th. That next day on November 15th, I will email the test to everyone who waited to the last day, which always seems to be a lot of people. They always wait to the last day. And so I will send them out the higher review test, and everyone will have until November 18th to take it. If you applied today, the email says take the test within 72 hours, but we're really not that strict. You have until November 18th to take it. So yeah, we ask people to take it right away because it is required. If you don't take the test, you are disqualified. We delete your application from the pool. We start selection in the beginning of December. And then we, as I said before, we continue all the way until everything is full. And newsrooms are signing up on a rolling basis throughout the next couple of months. So I would say 90 to 95% of our spots are filled by like mid-February. But then we always have those like last like 3 to 5 that were like either new people are coming in or we had a dropout or something happens. But usually most of our spots are filled by February. Once you accept the internship, we give you a form to fill out. We ask then for your official transcript. We give you a letter from the previous intern. We connect you to the hiring manager. It's important for me to say that like when you become the intern, you are not employed or paid for by Dow Jones News Fund. You're paid by the newsroom. You're onboarded as an employee of that newsroom. So we sort of just like hand you off to them when it's time for the internship. The residency programs will be somewhere between May 16th and June 8th. And then your internships will begin soon after. So some just final thoughts, and then I'll open it up to questions. Keep your voicemail, check your voicemail and email regularly. Don't have a full mailbox. We do just pick up the phone and call you. I've started texting people more. That seems to get through easily, but definitely try to be responsive. We don't wait very long. If we call you, like we're in the middle of filling that spot, like, if you call us back 2 weeks later, it's probably gone. So definitely try to stay on top of it if you see a weird phone number calling you. Your resume does not need to be long. It really should highlight your journalistic work. Think of, putting bullet points over, like if you're a reporter, like I filed, 2 to 3 stories per week. I covered these type of things. If you were an editor, if you're applying for copy editing, make sure the words copy editing and AP style are on that resume. You don't know how many people just don't put that they know AP style on it or that they have been a copy editor. So definitely put that on there. If, don't lie, but if you have that experience, make sure you're highlighting it. Any Adobe programs, social media platforms you're familiar with, all of that could be helpful because, we really are, when we get that job description, like we had one internship this summer and it was like they need to know InDesign really well. So, I'm looking on their resume saying, okay, and it is a question on our application, but, so we're looking for people who had demonstrated knowledge of InDesign. So make sure you're just highlighting all those types of things on your resume. Keep your social media clean and professional. We do have several newsrooms with some of the bigger national publications that do require a social media check before we can offer you the internship. So that is something you should be thinking about especially if you want to be a journalist, is having a professional social media, and you could have none. You could say, I don't have Twitter, I'm not on, and that's fine. That will not hurt you. But if you are on it, make sure it's professional. LinkedIn is really great to have and keep it updated. You might apply in October, but I'm not looking at your materials until February. I frequently will go look at your LinkedIn profile. I could see, look, you got like a spring internship or maybe any updates. What else? Make sure there's no typos on any of your materials, especially if you want the copy editing internship. Your essay, there's no right or wrong answer. It's really about your storytelling and writing skills and for us to learn more about you. What else? Work samples. I talked about that earlier, about how to really put your best work forward. If you're a member of journalism organizations, that also really stands out. It shows a commitment to the industry, that you are interested in the profession. They're great for mentorship and resources. So I definitely recommend you check out some of these journalism organizations. Yeah. So one more final thought I'm thinking of, you also, let's say you apply in October, but then in January, you get a great story that you're really proud of. You can always email to me and say, hey, Heather, I applied, for the business reporting program. Can you add this clip to my portfolio or to my application? And I can. So keep that in mind. If after the deadline you get published work that you want to add, you can. So, all right. That was a lot. I'm going to open up to questions.
Hi, my name is Natalie and I have a question. I wanted to ask if any editors or people within specific newsrooms have a say in the applications. For example, if I wanted to apply to a business reporting internship with the American City Business Journals, would any of the editors at the journals have any say in the applications?
Oh, like if you know someone at the local paper?
Yeah.
I mean, if you do know someone, the person who decides for American State Business Journals is Gary Howard. So you could definitely let who you know that you're applying and say, can you put in a good word with me with Gary Howard?
Okay, sounds good.
And yeah, I could be on the lookout too, but Austin raised his hand.
Hi, my name is Austin, and I'm a finance and journalism student at Miami University, and I'm particularly interested in your business reporting program. I was just wondering for the clips you want us to submit, do you want those to be business focused or just our best works regardless of the topic?
They could be, if you have business clips, that's great. But they don't have to be. So, covering a public policy, covering an issue on campus. I know one of our directors really likes to look and see if you have any math classes on your transcript, just to see if you're scared, because she believes you shouldn't be scared of numbers. So that's but not every director is different in what they look for. So, I think just showing some your writing skills and news gathering skills would be best. But the only thing I'd say is not to do classroom assignments and opinion pieces. I would say not to do, but people have done theater, reviews, entertainment coverage. Sports is a little harder, but there's definitely more longer feature form writing within sports, but not just covering a game, but if there was something more profiling an athlete or something that could work. It's really to demonstrate your writing skills.
Thank you.
I had a quick question. First off, I want to say thank you for the presentation. It was really informative, and helped a lot actually. But I just had a quick question. So I applied a couple weeks ago, and I am really interested in the audience engagement one. But I've done in the past month, I've done a lot of social media work, at college, for one of the clubs I'm in. So I was wondering how could I just email that to you to add it to my application?
Yeah, if you updated resume or work sample, okay. Yeah, just say, yeah, can you add this to my application? I'll add it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Bailey. I am a sophomore at Drake University, and I am studying digital media production. So I was just wondering, focusing on the digital media internship, for those 3 to 5 pieces in my portfolio, should those for example, I'm a staff photographer, but I also have some graphics work that I've done in previous internships. Do you want a variety and a diverse portfolio, or just focused on the photography pieces that I've done for newspapers?
I would do more diverse, because we don't have any photography internships. Okay. Most of them are either in social media, doing newsletters. We did have one intern this year at a newsroom. She was digital media, and she was a photographer, and they loved it. And so they made her basically the staff photographer for the summer, because it was but that was never the original internship assignment, but they took advantage of that because they learned that was a skill. So I think that's a added bonus to the newsroom if you're able to do that. But I would say some photos, or even if you had a portfolio, a link saying, here's my portfolio of my photography. Or maybe if you had one photo, you're oh, I got an award for this photo. But I think maybe some more diverse work would be better.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Heather. I was just wondering real quick. I mean, first off, thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. I appreciate that. But really, I was wondering for the test if there is any specific section that has more weight than others. Like if the question, like the prompt question, is more important than the questions concerning like.
I'm glad you asked that because I forgot to cover that. So with the test, everything is scored separately. So you're going to have a current events score, AP style score, a business score, a digital, every section has their own score. And we have a little formula where we're like, okay, we put certain things together and say, okay, this is your business score. We put other things together. Okay, this is your editing score. And then here's your digital audience score. And then a data score. So all that means that like, you might bomb the data section. You might look at that and be like, oh my God, I don't know any of this. And that's okay if you like did really well in the editing. They're all scored separately. I will say current events is very important. Being a news consumer is very important for the test. So I would say that's probably the most important thing to really freshen up on, because that is a significant part of your grade. There are current events questions even peppered within the other program questions, like business reporting. So current events is really important and that current events is in every score. So that's sort of one block of 40 points of the test is contributed to every score is how you do. Because again, it's really important for us that you are a news consumer and you are aware of what's happening in the world. You need to be able to go to that newspaper or that newsroom, and it really speaks to your news judgment and understanding what's happening. Like, oh, I know that this is like a day one story, this is breaking, like, because you're making those decisions, like this is front page story, this needs to be a major on the front page of the head paper, or oh no, this story broke months ago, this is just a follow-up to it, this is like a page 3 story, like things like that. So current events is very important for everyone to really freshen up on. And then everything else is scored separately. We might have an internship that says like they need to know AP style really well. I might sort and say, okay, well, who got really high scores on the AP style section? You might have failed the rest of the test, but you did really well in the AP style. So we definitely use it to like shift and sort. I'll also say like you might not do well in the test and still get in. Like it's not a make or break with the test. It is one point we look at. We've had people who almost ace the test and never get a phone call from us. So it's not the only thing we look at, but it is a starting point for how we like sort and look at people. It's definitely influential, but it's not the everything. I hope that helps.
Oh, thank you. I guess if no one has anything else, just a follow-up question. For the newsrooms that will be assigned to, is there a limit to where these newsrooms will be, like across the country?
Oh, you know what? That's okay. Let me show you. I'm gonna stop. Let me stop share. All right. Let me see if I can get you guys. All right, share. I'm gonna go onto the. All right. You guys see my website right now for Dow Jones News Fund? I can't see it, so someone say yes or no if you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right, so this is our website. If you go to latest and news, and click on internship class of 2024. Now, I'm not saying this is where all the newsroom internships are, but this is going to give you a good idea if you wanted to know. So like if you were planning on applying for audience engagement, like these are the newspapers that signed up for audience engagement last year. Now it could change. Some newsrooms change it up every year what they are. Some are very consistent. You can go back and look at previous years and see what they signed up for. But maybe this might help make it like maybe you're torn between which one to put as your top choice. Maybe you really like both audience and digital and you're like, where should I put my first choice? So these, if you scroll down, you can see sort of the type of publications that are in the different programs, and see like who's in the business reporting program, who's in the data journalism program, and that will tell you. So and it could change. Like we've already had one new media partner sign up for next year that's not on this list. So it definitely changes every year.
I had a quick question.
Mhm.
How many people typically apply for the internship every year?
Last year was our biggest applicant pool in a while. We were over 1,000, which was big for about 87 spots. And I think it's going to be, we've gotten a lot of, usually we don't get a lot of applications early, but we're getting a lot of applications early right now. So that's good. I think it's great. I'm your friend in all of this. Like, I really try to make good matches and to help help students get internships. And we've also had cases where we might call you. This is what happened a couple of years ago. I called someone, they were going to school in Washington, D.C. We offered them an internship in Denver and they were really excited, but then they called us back the next day and they're like, I can't get a car. I have to stay in DC for the summer. So I was like, okay, we keep a spreadsheet and we put notes. All the directors, this is how we all communicate, is in a Google sheet. And I'll put a note like this next to the student, like must be in DC or have a remote internship. And we just put it there and I sort of locked that away in my head. Okay. And so a month and a half after that phone call, I had another newsroom sign up in Washington, D.C. He was the first person I called. I said, hey, I got something in D.C. now. Would you be interested in this? And he was, and it worked out. So we might call you and offer you something. You could, I encourage you to please be honest, because we really want these to be good choices, not just for the newsroom, but for you as well in your own career and your own interests. So I can't guarantee there'd be a second phone call, but I don't want you to just say yes because we're calling. I want you to be honest with us and be like, I really was hoping to get business reporting in New York or something, or I really was hoping, it depends on how you go about phrasing it. We've also had a student who was like, ew, I would never work there. And I was like, we never called them again. It was just the tone and the way they approached us. We just didn't like it. It rubbed us the wrong way. So, you could always follow up with me, maybe talk to a director. It gets very confusing because all of our directors are doing this separately from their own homes and they're all across the country. So you might get a phone call from one director and I try to play the I don't know, the ref, trying to keep people from calling. I don't want you getting inundated with calls from multiple directors. So we try to keep it everyone has don't all call the same people, but it happens. And so you can always call me if you were like, hey, Heather, I'm a little confused. I got a call from this person and I got a call from this person the next day. What's going on? And I could try to figure that out, so I'm an ally in this process.
Hi, I'm sorry, I just had one last question. Does it make a difference if you apply earlier versus waiting more toward the application deadline?
No, I did just find it's funny. I always say no, it doesn't. I do have some newsrooms who want to get started earlier. But traditionally no. It's November, November 18th. We're gonna start reviewing, or actually what we're doing is I take a spreadsheet of all your applications and I take all the test scores and have to import them in, and it just takes weeks. So we typically start in December. Some of the bigger newsrooms like to start earlier. I would recommend, if you are interested in the Wall Street Journal, to apply earlier. They want to start earlier in the process. So we'll see. We're sort of figuring that out, how we're going to do that. So and apply to Wall Street Journal too. I would recommend that. Yeah, you could also apply to all these organizations on your own, multiple avenues. So you don't just go through us, but you can apply to them directly as well. Because sometimes they'll have, like the Washington Post will have 20 interns, but maybe they'll have one or two that they get through DJNF. Same thing with the Wall Street Journal. They're going to have 20 interns and 4 of them are going to come through from Dow Jones News Fund. So definitely I would recommend applying to both newsrooms.
And I had another question. Let's say we don't hear back December, January. Is there any way to show continued interest in as an intern for this program, sending an email or just following up once a month or something?
Yeah, I said that last year. I was like, email me, check on your, and I got inundated with emails this year, and then it was not possible. I just couldn't. I feel bad because we don't say no to someone, because someone might sign up in March and you're the perfect candidate for it, and so we don't want to tell people no. We just say we have nothing at this time, and I could tell you if I'm not inundated with emails, I might say like, you know, we still have about 10 spots left we're filling. If you don't want to ask directly, you can always just, I've had people who say, oh, I just got an award from ACES for headlines. Can you know, change out this resume that reflects my new award I just got, you know, or I got an award from CMA. And that's like a little creative way to sort of let me know, oh, they're still available and still interested. Oh, and they just got an award. Wow. Okay. Let me look at the student and see what they have. Same thing if you're a reporter and you file a story, you know, that does tell me that you're still interested and available. So it is, you know, it's a way to refresh, you know, your materials. But I apologize in advance if you ask me if we're still making picks and I don't get back to you. But some people have also just said, you know, I'm still available, really excited about this program. I really hope, you know, and you know, I'll read it. I can't promise I'll respond, but it doesn't hurt. Send a follow-up email. Any other questions? All right, well, wait, I'm gonna conclude the recording. Thank you all for coming. Let me see.